Welcome everyone. Welcome to Straight Out of BPS podcast with Rudy and Jamari. I am Rudy, and next to me we have
Jamari Jones, everybody.
Jamari Jones. How you doing, brother?
I am doing good, man. Things are going well.
Things are going well.
Yeah.
I can hear it in your voice.
I know. I got the first round of the vaccine.
Woo, woo! So you say we're taking vaccine in here?
Yeah, man.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, one step closer to being normal.
To a new normal.
New normal.
Some kind of normal.
Right.
Yeah.
So we also have, well, in the BPS world, we have students coming back.
Okay.
And it's good to.
You got some student interaction this week?
Yeah. So I've been having
home,
student interaction, but I have more students coming in.
Okay. Yeah. You did.
So it's been really good to see their faces and to actually see their faces and to actually help them out and talk to them one on one. So it's been great. It's been great. It's a little bit nerve wracking as well because you do have the other side of it where you're still kind of nervous about COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I think as things are getting better and the vaccine and everything, it's cool.
Well, hopefully we get access to more vaccine and thing. They're being distributed faster than they are right now.
Yeah.
My week was busy. I don't know why, but it was busy. But I've been trying to get into using my organizer more.
Yeah.
That's one of the challenge for myself. And I gotta say, it feels so good to just cross things out.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because I feel like I will have so much thing in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I will mentally cross it out, but having it on paper, like it just, well, I would use sticky notes. I had a bunch of sticky notes on my desk. But having it like, I gotta say I went through a process of using different organizers to find out which one works best for me, and the one I'm using right now, it's kind of working the flow,
Yeah.
Shout out to my coach, she knows what she is. Yeah, it's been a busy week, busy good. I gotta say, this is the first week of March, and I know last month we talked about like Black History 365. So I'm gonna say it again. Women history is 365.
Right.
So ladies, we appreciate you, we support you, and we support equal pay, everything. Like, and I know, and we celebrate it every day and not just in March, but for the special month, we're just excited to just call ourselves like men supporting women or like alive, whatever name, like that's associated with that.
Yeah. Big appreciation.
Big appreciation
to all the women out there.
Big appreciation. We see you.
Yes.
And we hear you. I was thinking like is there a woman in your life outside of your friends and family members who inspires you?
Yes, there's quite a few actually. Wow. When thinking about women that have made a difference in my life, that were not friends and family, I would say my principal,
all right,
Miss Kemp. When I was in high school, shout out to Miss Kemp. She was my principal in high school at Fenway High School. She was just a boss, yo.
Boss.
I remember every year at the end of the school year, she would meet with every single student to sign them out, but she would also ask, like, what are you doing for the summer?
All right.
And make sure, like, we each had a plan on, that that we were doing something.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
My other teacher, and when I went to the Curly, Miss Jackson, she was our drama teacher, and like she just took me under her wing and made sure like.
So you tell me you got some hidden skill that I don't know about?
You know, a little bit. You know.
Might get to test that out.
I mean, my wife says I'm dramatic. So.
Oh, but I can see that.
I probably learned it from Miss Jackson.
Ooh.
What about you though?
Maya Angelou.
Okay.
Like she, like I remember when I started writing because of some of them where I was going with some of my writing. People were telling me like, "Yo, you should look her up." So I actually have a quote from her that I want to say that I always try to bring back. It's if you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I feel like I've been trying to challenge what normal is. Mm-hmm. And like. Even growing up, I would hear like men do this, men do that, and I'm like,
yeah,
why do I need to do this?
Right.
Like, you know, so I always want to try to kind of challenge the norm. It made me.
Right.
A woman molded me,
and
women are continuing to inspire me.
That's dope.
So, shout out to y'all. I know, especially in my case, I wouldn't be here today where I'm at in my career if it wasn't my mentor, one of my mentors, and my coach, who was a woman.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, happy Women's History Month.
Yeah.
Shout out to y'all.
I'm so excited.
Oh,
also, like your hoodie, man.
Thank you for noticing.
So people on the podcast may not. Well, you can't see it, but we got some hoodies out. Not for sale yet, but if you do like these hoodies and you want one, comment in the comments either on Instagram, Facebook,
YouTube, everywhere. Just let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know. Let us know what you think about the collar and everything. And
yeah,
that's our collar, But yeah, so we also say shout out to my boy Wesley from Wesley T shop. We went to high school together. So he's a BPS graduate. So if you're looking for any work, anything to be done, check him out. Yeah.
It's dope. I love him. Thank you.
What's going on in BPS lately, bro?
Whoa. There is so much going on, along with, just students coming back. All hybrid students are going to be coming back by the 29th. There has been a lot of changes. Well, some drama, a little bit. But so we have...
I think comes with drama, comes with BPS.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
So we have this young man... Khymani James. He was a part of BSAC, and he put out that he put in his resignation letter, saying that he was no longer gonna be a part of BSAC because he felt like he wasn't being heard. Questions that he was asking was not being answered or disregarded. And this young man is about, I think, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And he goes to Boston Latin Academy. I had students at my school that have participated in BSAC, and, they really enjoyed it. But I do not, I do not think that, he is, lying about this at all.
Yeah.
I do think there is, truth to it. I would like to hear, the full story, but the article is very interesting. If what he says is true, it's very disheartening to see that he's, his voice is not being heard.
Well, I am not surprised. And so he did B-side, and also I think he was a student rep for the Boston School Committee, right? Yeah. I think because he was leaving the Boston School Committee, he couldn't stay at B-side. So if he left one, he had to leave the other. And it's so interesting because I know the Boston School Committee student rep was founded so to have a student voice in the room. So if you say he's bringing his voice in the room and they're not listening to him, so was it just for show? And how long that's been going on?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm pretty, well, it takes it like, if you're in a position like that, you don't leave, you don't resign after the first incident.
Yeah.
It takes a lot.
Yeah. It took a lot. I feel like it took a lot for him to be pushed to that edge, and I think he was a part of it. I forget what the article said, but he was a part of it for a while. Wow. So I don't think that, like you said, this is not the first time, and it takes a while for someone to be pushed to the edge like that. But the real concern is like, how are you gonna have a advisory council made for kids, but not really, listening to their voices or shutting it down? And I think it's just like, we really gotta rethink our priorities when we are making these type of programs.
Well, I think it's not only that too. I think we need to find a way to how can we make sure the Boston School Committee is not an appointed members are not appointed but elected.
Yeah.
I think that's a bigger picture, bigger conversation, because if you in a room and the people you're trying to counsel don't have no connection, or they don't understand, like, if you don't understand the culture, like, how can you appropriately make enough decision? Because the truth of the matter is, he's still being treated like a kid.
Yeah,
he's a kid. They're like, what do you have to offer? But in this day and age, kids have proven numerous times they deserve a seat at the table, especially when it's about their education.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when things like that happen, people are like, why did you quit? You could have stayed, But no, but him leaving is a statement.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's putting them on notice, because what we've been hearing is just like, BPS are like trying to be more inclusive. They're trying to be promote equity and stuff. But
it's not equitable.
It's all talk, no action.
Yeah.
So I think that was super powerful what he did, and that was putting him on notice. And
that he definitely had a lot of courage doing that. And I think he's gonna do some amazing things. And when I was looking on Twitter and stuff, I could see other students kind of following in his footsteps and resigning from BSAC as well.
It's a movement.
So with that, I'm like, there's some truth to what he's saying.
Yeah.
And if we are talking about, changing things in BPS and having students more involved and being more engaged in BPS, we need to have a balance of voices of like young and old, but also like to be anti-racist, like you were saying before, there has to be also like a balance of like the students coming in and being a part of like tearing down that system.
Say it again, tearing down that system.
Tearing down that system.
And I think that's what there's a lot of fear when you use the word like tearing down that system.
Yeah.
Because they are trying to adjust a system that doesn't fit us or black and brown kids.
Yeah.
So no matter how much you adjust the system, it won't fit.
Yeah.
It may look like it's working.
Right.
But and that's the thing, like, because it looks like it's working, you don't take into consideration the amount of work that people have to put in to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're excelling in the system doesn't mean excelling in the system.
Yeah.
Like, you're pushing through.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
We should not try to modify our students to fit the system.
Yeah.
But modify the system to fit our students, or just like we were saying, break it down completely and build it up. And
foundation, from foundation in like no matter how you try to build a building on top of a foundation, if the foundation wasn't meant to hold the building,
right,
the building's gonna keep cracking.
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought up that BPS work and change you're trying to create, because we have another article where the Boston Public School suspend tests for advanced learning class concern about program racial inequities. But in the article they say that it was more about the pandemic than racial inequity.
Right. But we all know that where the schools are located, we can see that there are some inequalities there.
Yeah, definitely. So we're talking about the Condon in South Boston, Jackson, Maine, and Austin.
Yep.
The Murphy in Dorchester, and even if in Dorchester, it's right now according to the data, it's 50% Asian.
Yeah. And when we were talking about it before, you said that it's the pandemic exposed.
Yeah, like they say, it's not about racial inequity; it's about pandemic. Yeah. But the pandemic has exposed a lot of like inequity.
Right.
Inequity. So.
And I think that's a
tomato.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, because they're trying to use this as an excuse that
which is not helping them.
Exactly. Because it's one and the same, and we can't put band-aids over a wound that needs surgery. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was saying so the Murphy in Dorchester, the Orenburg School in West Roxbury, and Josiah Quincy Elementary School in Chinatown.
Yeah.
So if 70% of the student in the program are white and Asian student, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the 5 schools that are offering this program are
in those areas.
Serving have the highest number of white and Asian.
Yep.
You'll never hear for any other school where the majority are black and brown Asian.
Yeah.
So
it's disheartening because they're not. I feel like they're like we were saying before. They're using this as an excuse, but we need to look at the real issue that's going on, and that not everyone is getting a fair chance.
Yeah, and come on, bro. You take a test in 4th grade.
Yeah.
And that third grade, yep. And that kind of like
determines your path,
the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like the amount of work that a 4th grade have to put in.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like.
So I mean I think that BPS needs to rethink how they are working this program. I know
it's on hiatus for 1 year. They intend to bring it back.
Yeah. But in that time, they could rework it, but I doubt it. But it's just it's wild.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it for us.
Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Either email, comment down below. Let us know what you think about what's happening right now with the suspension of the program.
Either the suspension of the program or the Boston Student Advisory Council representation who what's his name again? Khymani James?
Khymani James.
Khymani. If we're not saying your name right, we apologize. But yeah, so again, like we said before, we think that was a bold move. It was put on notice.
Yeah.
And we're with you.
100%,
100%.
Man. Your voice needs to be heard.
Definitely.
As always, thank you for our listeners for supporting us.
Our listeners, our viewers, thank you. Like, you guys watch the third.
Yeah.
Like, the episode number 4, it went through the roof.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
Continue to support. Like, share. With a friend, your mama, your dada, everybody. We appreciate it. Also, I just want to put our stuff out there. If follow us on Twitter at SOBPS Podcast. Like us on Facebook, Straight Outta BPS Podcast. Email us at straightouttabpspod@gmail.com. On Instagram as well, follow us, Straight Outta BPS Pod. Thank you, everybody. Episode 4 was awesome. We had some guests. We spoke about, a lot of different things. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it now. Go listen to it now.
So, Jamari, you went to college, right?
Yes, I did.
I went to college.
Got my master's too, baby.
Do you ever? So it's a 2-part question. While you're in college, did you ever maybe, hey, one, what did I get myself into? Should I be here? Or looking at the decision you made to go to college, do you think the benefit outweigh the cost?
The benefit outweigh the cost.
The benefit of going to college.
So when thinking about that, do I think the benefit outweighed the cost? I think during that particular time period, when I was in high school, and I thought, and I was taught, in order to be successful or to make it further in life, you would need to further your education, which is going to college.
Yes.
And so as I applied to school, got into Center College, Posse Scholarship, all that other stuff, I felt like I was benefiting from that. And no doubt I have in the long run.
Yeah.
While I was in college, that was a different story, because I was like, what am I doing here? And then after I left college, you don't always reap the benefits of your sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
So I would see my friends living their life, because whether they went to college or decided to do a trade or something like construction, they were living their life and got to start their life a lot sooner than I did.
Yeah.
And during that time, it would mess with me mentally, because I'm like, dang, maybe if I didn't go to college, I would be a lot further along in my life. Or, I wasn't making the kind of money that I thought I would.
Yeah.
From my.
It's not that you told you, that you were told.
That I was told, yes.
Yeah.
So it was difficult in that sense, but as I worked and stuff, I can say now, in a master degree later, that I am benefiting from my degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
I would say yes and no. And I definitely feel you, because when I was in college, and you see something important, you saw them studying out life, and the goal is not to go to college. College is a step towards generational wealth, or the life you building for yourself.
Right.
So
it's a tool.
I think because the way we were preached upon about college, that college is the goal. Your goal is to go to college. When you ask us, what is your goal? My goal is to go to college to become this. No. your goal is to, one, work on yourself, be mentally and physically happy and healthy, and live your life. And how you make sure you live your life, and so, and you don't have to worry. It was building asset and generational wealth. And the quickest way to build asset and generational wealth is by buying property. So I see some of my classmates who didn't go to college went to a trade, but they were buying houses. So they were studying out life before me. So I'm like, yo, I'm here. They already studied. This is what I want. Why am I here? And especially that I'm not working now that I'm not working in my field of study. It took me a long time to come to terms with that, and I think I'm close to be okay with it. But it's hard. But the question is, like, does the benefit outweigh the cost? I say yes and no. I say yes because strategically I know how to make it worthwhile. But if I didn't know how to strategically make it worthwhile, no. So if I didn't know what I know, then it wouldn't be beneficial for me. And here's why I say that. A lot of us have to take on loans to make it through college. And those that, when you look at it, one of the cons of going to college is the loan factor.
Especially for minority students.
So as I said earlier, getting assets and building generational wealth, the quickest is to buy a property. If you look at, like, when you go get a mortgage for a house, the debt to income ratio plays a factor. So you're seeing, so yes, going to college you might make more money, but the debt comes with it too. So those, your friends or classmates, high school classmates who didn't go to college, they're making money. They might not be making money as much money you're making. Like, depends. Some of them make a lot of money, but they don't have any debt. And that's the huge factor. So if you go into college to make a lot of money at the end, how long is it going to take you to pay the debt you acquire along the way?
And there's also the factor of what scholarships you have or what your financial aid looks like. I think that, and if you haven't already guessed, we are talking about alternative pathways, meaning, being a construction worker, going into plumbing, or even certificate programs like in community colleges.
Or going straight to work.
Or going straight to work versus going to college. Which we are both people that have went to college, so we have the perspective of that. But we are gonna look at some of the pros and cons of them both. We are not saying do one or the other. I want to make that clear. But we want you guys to know our perspective on it, and also, like, these are the benefits of a student or even a grown adult making this decision. But it also depends on your personal, like, where you are personally in your life, right? So take that into consideration. So when we're saying, it depends on, how much debt to income ratio and, what your financial aid package is going to look like, you got to think about that stuff as you're moving forward in your decision making. And what are your interests? Like, what do you really like? One of the things when working with students, and we work with students in making college application decisions, it's like, just don't do it because it's the traditional thing to do.
Yeah, it's the norm.
Like that, you're not gonna win that way. How you're gonna win is like following your passion. What do you want to do with your life? If you like making stuff with your hands and you want to be like a craftsman worker, like that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how you can get a career that way and make money doing it. So I think that's something that, you know, we feel strongly passionate about, and I think something that I wish we learned when we were younger. My question for you is, did you learn about alternative pathways in high school?
No. Learn about the term alternative pathway until later on in my career.
Same.
I like to reflect a lot on how I can improve and do a better job in my work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, sometimes I reflect upon the kids I lost because I didn't listen, I didn't hear them.
Yeah.
I was like, I went to college, go to college. That's what was, that's the blueprint I knew.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and
that's the blueprint we were told.
We were told. So now we're talking about, like, yes, I advise students on college and financial aid, but I call myself a post-secondary advisor because regardless of their decision, we need to be able to support them and connect them with resources so they can be successful. I remember when I was in high school, because I was an AP and they know Rudy's going to college, like how much time and investment was put into me, and compared to the kids who it didn't look like they were going to college.
Right, they didn't have the same trajectory.
They didn't, like, you know, but and to be honest, when we're looking at the structure and the pros and cons, college does offer you a structure.
Yep.
But it's not. It's like it's some form of structure, but not a true structure. I say that because we are not taught how to structure our self or our or to manage. Let's say to manage our daily tasks. In high school, everything is structured for you.
True.
From 7 to 2:30 or 3. A block, B block, like, you know, everything is lined up after the other. Yeah. In college,
you pick your classes when you want to go.
So I spent most of my life everything being structured for me. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, hey, now go.
Yeah. It's like walking in lines in middle school.
Yeah.
And then you get to high school, they're like, oh, you can just
go.
Yeah.
You can pick. Oh, are you a morning person or you have to? How do I know?
Yeah.
Like,
I was late every day to school. Like, what's about college? What are some of the other pros?
So I mean, the network in college.
Yes.
Like, you know, the higher the name of the college, you tap into your network, you're connected. Yeah. Like, you know, you go to Harvard. Just saying you go to Harvard,
you can open up some doors.
Yeah, you open up some doors. I think it's the network. Yes, when you go to college, the income is 3 to 4 times higher, some of that number, and you're just kind of following the norms, like, you know, just going to college. So, but as opposed to when you look at the con, you see it like you have, like, now that you have a master, like, you know, everything is just like you kind of reaping the benefit,
right?
Yeah,
and I think that when going to college, I think that we have to, a student or a person has to have a plan, like you were saying. Yeah. Like what? Because if you don't have a plan, in my experience, you can waste a lot of money. And for minorities specifically, we don't have time to waste. Nope. We don't have money to waste. So, I think that we can do a better job, and I'm just thinking from a counselor standpoint, is helping students or families develop a plan. What do you want to study? This may not be the end like I changed my major like
Yeah.
10 times, but like, okay, you're gonna be an engineer, so you're gonna have to take math classes. First of all, are you good at math?
Yeah.
If you're not, this may not be like it for you, but let's think about it. Let's troubleshoot it. A lot of the times I think people just go into it gun ho.
Yeah, to figure it out.
Figure it out
in college costs money.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to stay there for like 6 years trying to figure it out.
Well, talking about 6 years, I know there's a plan to change that, but you only Pell Grant. The Pell Grant is like a grant you get from the government when you fill out the financial aid, and you only have 6 years of Pell eligibility.
Yep.
After 6 years, you don't get, and the amount is right now around 6,345. That's if, depending on your family's income, you get the full amount. So I know there's a plan to either double it or also remove the 6 years limit. But regardless, figuring out in college costs money because from withdrawing class, changing major, and which may add more time you spend in college, it costs money because those classes cost money as opposed to high school. So the point is like there need to be more exploration in high school.
Yes.
There needs to be more exploration.
Yes.
In high school.
Speaking of that, and I looked this up. So in BPS, there are vocational schools or schools that have this type of exploration type of a field. I'm not sure how developed it is.
Yeah.
But I know that one, we have Madison Park.
Yeah.
Which is like the only kind of big vocational school in BPS. I think they do some amazing things over there, and like kudos to them. But we need more of that in our different schools.
Yeah.
So we're not just pushing college only. So Boston Arts Academy, they have a design and visual communication program, and fashion technology. Also, they do a lot of music stuff and like photography and like a whole array of like different stuff. Boston Green Academy. Environmental Science and Technology, which is cool. The English High School, Business Technology, Computer Programming and Web Development, Exploratory Program, Graphic Design and Visual Communication, Health Assessing and Wellness, Protective Services, and then Edward Kennedy Health Careers Academy, Health Assisting. So these are the different types of programs they have out there, which was kind of good for me to hear because I didn't know that it was that many. Besides,
there's not that many.
Yeah, right. But more than what I expected.
Yeah. Another thing about college is the price hike every year. The college costs, tuition costs increase.
Which is crazy.
The college tuition increase every summer.
Yep.
Like, you get an announcement, school increased their tuition, and what happened on May 1st?
They make a decision about where they're going to go.
So if they're making a decision about where they're going to go on May 1st, and then in July or August, the tuition increase.
They hit them with that tax.
So my thing is so I calculated, because low-income students don't have the luxury of, okay, I'm going there. So there's a lot of math, a lot of financial planning that goes on.
Right.
And that if I can afford it, not only for the first year, but for 4 years, while projecting the tuition increase every year.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy to me that tuition are increasing, but yet students are still asked decision by May 1st.
Yeah.
Which doesn't add up. And they know they're gonna increase their tuition.
Right.
Like tuition is gonna spike. So yeah, the college tuition. Now the thing is, college tuition are increasing, and if we make a direct correlation, the pay rate is staying low.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's definitely a con.
Yeah.
Let's look at alternative pathways. When talking about alternative pathways, we are including vocational schools, meaning being a construction worker, electrician, pipe fitter, plumbing, or certificate programs. And as I just was recently told, being an influencer. So
I mean, people are making money on
people
IG,
are making
on social
bread.
media,
Yeah.
bread.
So definitely use that.
Some of your students might be influencers. You don't know that. Hey, yo.
I know one. I
Yeah.
know one.
Yeah.
She reviews hair products.
And the thing about it is the creativity behind all those things. And that's why I'm like, they definitely need to be supported, offer resources. How can we empower them to, like, work more in their craft and expand their branding? Like,
right.
Yeah.
So that's something that, definitely people should take advantage of, and that everyone can kind of do if you build up your brand.
Yeah.
So some of the pros of doing alternative pathways is, one, getting a chance to start your life earlier, meaning that you're able to maybe purchase a home earlier, maybe have kids earlier, because you don't have to go through as much schooling as someone that is going to college. I think this is something that I have thought about when I was younger, but also that students think about as well, people in general. Generally, alternative pathway schools cost less than going to college. So a lot of people do save money there, and I think and that's something to highly consider when you are thinking about which path you are going to take. And then it's also most likely a shorter time to complete.
Yeah.
In general, usually college takes about 4 or 5 years to complete your bachelor's degree. When you're doing vocational work, you learn about your craft that you're going into, which is usually maybe 6 months to a year of schooling, and then you kind of hone those crafts as you go into your apprenticeship or something, or if you're in a certificate program, you start working in that field or get a job, or what have you. Then, so you start your career faster, shorter time to complete. Sometimes you might have smaller classes, so it's easier to learn, and more job security, depending on which field you go into. Also, you get to start making money faster, and that can be, like I said before, that can move into you meeting your financial goals sooner.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we started this, we said like not one size fits all.
Fits all, yeah.
Everybody have a different story, different starting point.
Mm-hmm.
So all those play into factor. Different resources, and I'm not just talking about financial resources.
Yeah.
Like like support system.
Yeah.
So, but one thing that when I'm talking to my students, before I try to figure out how to help them figure out their plan after high school, I try to have them concentrate on what they love doing now. And now how we can use what they love doing now as a blueprint to help them build their plan or pathway.
Right.
Like, because to be honest, a lot of things that our students are interested in, you don't need to go to college to learn them.
Yeah.
So the question is, knowing that information, do you still want to go to college, or are you willing to explore more and go into the avenue?
Yeah.
But the thing of going in that avenue, it requires a lot more self-discipline and self-structure.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, like, we need to offer those support because we are connected, like, with people. So, like, and people in those areas who have kind of like, who have succeeded in those areas, they need to talk about how they got there.
Yeah.
So they need to share their story. So when students decide, okay, college, I'm not going to college, I want to do this. So we are like, okay, we're going to support you. Like, we're going to connect you to resources. Like, let's do it. And not looking at the student like they're making the worst decision of their life.
Right. I mean, I have seen a person that started off in like cosmetology, doing hair, and owning her own like business in that sector, then even going back to school to get her bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Now got her master's degree. Now is going to like do bigger and better things.
Yeah.
And so just because you choose a certain pathway doesn't mean you're not going to go to college.
Yeah.
Like, because you could hone your craft, right? And be like, yo, I want to start a business, but to solidify this, I might want to go to college and get a business degree.
Yeah.
Which is like cool. Or you might do a whole 180 and be like, I got my degree, but I don't really want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go into construction or something and do something totally different.
Yeah.
So just because you choose one path or the other doesn't mean that you can't, change your mind in the middle. Not in the middle. After you complete one program.
It's not like the test where
when it determines the rest of your life and the resources that you
I
get.
had to.
So let's look at some of the cons. Some of the cons that I found, financial aid might not be available.
And that's a problem.
So, and that is a problem. If we look at what, the program, these should be funded programs. Because, it's a type of schooling.
Yeah.
I think because they are private, or they're owned by, I think, companies or something, that, it may not be as funded. But I think there should be funds for people that want to go into these programs. And to be honest, there might be some type of scholarship depending on, but I think it should be for everyone if you decide to do that. So the schedule, the work schedule, or especially for vocational schools, the schedule might not fit to everyone's liking. Like in college, you can kind of choose your schedule, but going into vocational school, you have to follow a very strict schedule. You have to be there on a certain time and everything like that. So that might be not for everyone, or you might not be able to do that in that particular time in your life. Third, it might be hard to find a job sometimes with the particular vocational like school you go into, depending on what it's like right now. And I think that's also like similar to for college degrees.
Yeah.
So depending on what you do, it depends on what's available at that time.
Yeah.
not as much, and this was a big one for me, not as much career flexibility.
Yeah.
So with a degree, you may be able to fluctuate on what you can do or where you can go.
Yeah.
But you know, I have what a particular trade or skill, you are a master in that trade or skill. So there are few people that, you know, dive into or is a master of all trades.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That is skilled in that way. But not everyone, you know, has that particular skill. So I would say, you know, that was something that I didn't think about. That if you go into a particular trade, you're bound to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not saying that you can't master other things, but you know, I think that is definitely something to think about when
Well, I wouldn't buy into that. It's just like you have to go learn another skills, like
right.
like you know,
or go to school again to get another set of skills.
Yeah, yeah.
So, if you can do it all over again, would you choose the college route? Or, and our listeners, would you choose the college route or would you do alternative pathways?
This is a tricky question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought you were talking to the people.
Yeah, and the people. I want y'all to answer in the comments.
Yeah, let us know what you... But do I get to bring my knowledge with me?
No, like high school you, and you know...
But that's not fair because you say if I could do it all over again.
Yeah.
If I could do it all over like that...
But, okay, if you could do it all over again, but you have the knowledge of alternative pathways. What would little Ruru do?
Because of the field that I'm in, and I know that's the field I would want to go in.
Yeah.
I think I would go to college.
Mm-hmm.
But my major wouldn't be the same.
Fair.
It's 2, I wouldn't have gone to the school that I went.
Okay.
3, I would have made sure that my student, wherever I end up going, is the place that can allow me to take the less amount of student debt as possible.
Yeah.
Because the problem is the debt. Like, you know, and the way debt used to, and in the past, it used to take you 10 years to pay off a debt. Now we're looking at 21 years.
Yeah. So,
and yeah, so I would say yes for me. Like I said, like it depends on what you're passionate about, what you want to do. What about you?
Me, I think I would continue. I would have went to college still.
Yeah.
I know that I'm first gen, and I know you are.
First gen too.
So
what is first gen again?
First generation student to graduate from college, and to get my master's as well.
Yeah.
So I think, I think I still would have chose college.
Yeah.
And that's just my own personal preference.
Yeah, because we did say it depends on your unique situation, your story, and what you want to do. Because of the work we want to do, it kind of requires us.
And I do like my major, but I wish someone would have spoke to me about choosing a particular major. Like, I knew it meant something, but you know, I would have. I don't know. I just would have chose something that I can kind of. And I do use it to a certain degree, but more tangible to life. So, but I did want to go over, right, real quick. So when I was looking up, uh, the college versus trade schools,
Yeah.
the money factor is big, right?
Of course it is big.
When talking to our students, when we're making decisions, especially when I'm talking to young people about, college costs so much money, this and a third, and loans. And I think that as a whole, we need to do a better job when helping kids make decisions, breaking down how much money are they going to spend and how much money they're gonna make, especially for our Black and brown students.
Yes.
Because when they are going into college, they are kind of breaking a cycle, or they are first generation students like ourselves. So on average, like the college student that, the student that goes into college, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are getting a 4-year degree, and they are going to make a lot more money in the long term, overall, than, or have a higher spring of someone that doesn't have a degree, right?
Yes.
So with trade school, it's kind of close.
Yeah.
And I think it's close because, one, trade school, you get to start your career earlier and save money and all that other stuff. And with college, you don't do that, but and you come out with debt, so you got to pay that back. So
not only that, you come out of debt. Even the people who don't complete college still have debt.
Yeah.
And that's a huge problem.
Yeah, that's
you're kind of locked into that cycle until you pay. Like, if you don't pay the money, you cannot get your transcript. Mm-hmm. So if you decide to go to college, you have to start over again.
Right.
So it's kind of like a trap.
Right. So for the average, for going back to high school, so if you just have a high school degree, and I'm getting this from an article, and I will post it in our notes. So if you have a high school diploma, the average starting salary for you would be around, and then it's not exactly, $30,500 yearly.
You can't live on that in Boston.
Right. So trade school, it's $38,000. Okay. And then for college, it's $51,000. But as time goes on, trade school starts to balance out with having a college degree. Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying this is because, it matters what path you take based on your preference of what you want to do.
Yeah.
But my main point is that the money will come. If you make the right decision that is for you.
Yeah, anything you do, if you're passionate about it, you put in the work, the money will come. And the thing about, and you said if your passion is about something hands-on that requires you, like trade school, like you get the benefit to go to learn a craft, and you don't acquire the debt. So, and the problem is that when the people will go to college, we make the money, but we spend most of that money paying this debt back.
Yes.
So.
Whereas, if you went to trade school, you don't necessarily do that. Yeah. But you start off at a lower rate, but that increases significantly as you build up your clientele for your business and who you work for, and just like you get raises at your job, you get raises in the trade too, how much money you make. So
again, it depends on your unique situation.
Yes.
And what. But we also cannot dismiss the fact that there needs to be a change, and because the increase of college tuition every year is
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and Black and brown kids cannot afford unless we have scholarships that will help us with those bills. Some of the scholarship, yes, you're gonna say just apply for scholarship. It's not easy for them to just apply.
Yeah.
It might be easy for you, but I've seen some of our students miss out on scholarship. That's like for us who this is easy, quick, easy. Tell your story.
Yeah.
But telling your story is
hard.
It's a trauma in itself.
Especially in 500 words.
500 words, and also.
You want me to explain my trauma in 500 words?
Whew. And also, you have to. Oh, here's the thing. When you're writing an essay and they tell you somebody already. So you have to make your thing as unique as possible. My story is unique.
Yeah. And
the reason why there's a lot of stories like that, no matter how the resemblance, is still unique.
Right.
And the reason why is because of the system itself. Mm-hmm. We are facing the same oppression.
Right.
So definitely there's going to be some similarity in the story. Mm-hmm. But you can find the uniqueness in it. But applying to all the schools, writing your story, everything you go through, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Especially when you think about it in that way, man.
Yeah. So... yeah, let us know.
Yes.
Do you think the cost of college outweigh the benefit? So, would you, if you had to make it, if you had to choose again?
Yeah.
College, alternative pathway.
Yeah.
What would work for you?
Right. Let us know if you went to BPS or even if you didn't go.
Yeah.
Did you learn about alternative pathways?
Yeah.
If you did, would that affect your choice on which career path you would have chose, or whether you went to college or not? Definitely want to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Straight out of BPS
podcast.
Pause.